Oklahoma's reporter, R.J. Young, says Tennessee is a revenge game for Oklahoma. What's your initial thoughts on that, Caleb?
R.J. Young was very big on saying, and I'm going to share a little clip of what he said in a second, but he's making the argument that Oklahoma won't miss on quarterbacks twice. He's making the argument that if Jackson Arnold had not been such a bust, and had they had the right quarterback at the start of the season, they would have been much better last year and maybe even have beaten Tennessee. And he did accurately point out that Nico Iamaleava was not great when Tennessee beat Oklahoma last year. I think he forgot the fact that Tennessee took their foot off the gas pretty quickly in that game.
Well, and that wasn't Nico's fault. That was the offensive tackle's fault. What are his comments?
All right, so here are his comments, and this is what he said. This is R.J. Young talking about Oklahoma and Tennessee. Here's a quick segment from him.
You think we gonna miss a quarterback for a second year in a row? All the money they paying that boy? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'm not even gonna entertain it. Gonna get you back. That's what I'm trying to tell Tennessee fans. I like them. I do. I enjoy Tennessee fans. I enjoy volunteer football, just not against Oklahoma. I didn't need not nan one of that. No. No. I look.
Thanks to Restore. Prime time.
I love when ads play right in the middle. Just give me a second.
I didn't want to be bold.
Here we go.
I tend to think that Tennessee got a little too big for its britches just a couple of times, right? They beat Bama and they beat Oklahoma and they think they about something. And then, well, Ohio State got to show you what that's really like.
Okay, so just FYI, because somebody posted on the message board, who is RJ Young? I know who he is. You know who he is.
Yes, RJ Young. And I encourage you guys to check out his podcast, Adapt and Respond with RJ Young. He's a college football commentator on YouTube and covers Oklahoma, and does a really good job and makes a lot of great points. I'm a fan of his, and so that's why I actually played this, because I thought it was very interesting what he said. Honestly,
well, I mean, but it's blatantly obvious, of course. Well, number one, Tennessee should be a revenge game. What happened last year? Tennessee won. Number two, if I'm RJ Young, and I'm not like this, I'm not a former player, so I don't have to be like this, and neither does Caleb. But if I'm RJ Young and I'm a former player and I like my access to the program, I'm going to say that there's no way their coaching staff's going to miss on a quarterback 2 years in a row. That's what I'm going to say. Whether or not I believe it, that's not what I'm going to say.
Well, and there's also the problem with, from my perspective, it is possible they missed on Jackson Arnold, Dave. It's also possible that Jackson Arnold was in a bad situation with Seth Littrell being the offensive coordinator for Brent Venables, and that was a clash because Brent Venables doesn't know what he's doing or what situation of football he wants to run offensively.
Well, if that's the case, does it go away?
No, I don't think it goes away. I mean, they fired Seth Littrell. Ben Arbuckle is now the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, and the quarterback they brought in was John Mateer from Washington State, who was really, really good last year and is a dangerous quarterback. So we will find out. Here's one good point from RJ Young is you think they're going to miss on it twice. I'm not saying they're going to miss on a quarterback twice, because the odds are really low that you would miss on two like highly touted quarterbacks twice. But I will say that they don't have the offensive rhythm or the chemistry necessary among the coaching staff for quarterbacks to succeed at Oklahoma, because I think Brent Venables is clashing with whoever he's hiring to run the offense, because let's be honest, Seth Littrell was from the Heupel. Think about this for a minute, Dave. Seth Littrell was from the Heupel tree, the Art Briles veer and shoot system, which is tempo based, right?
Yes. Brent
Venables is a defensive coordinator. You think he wanted to run that tempo in practice? Of course not. So, but then Seth Littrell can't run his offense. So why would Brent Venables, who wants to be a defensive-minded team, hire a coach to be his offensive coordinator that's going to run tempo? He doesn't know what he's doing or how to mesh his offensive coordinator with the identity of his program. And that's why I think there's going to be a disaster with John Mateer.
I believe that Oklahoma needs a Gene Chizik type team with a Cam Newton at quarterback, a guy that can make 4 or 5 plays off schedule that you're like, whoa, that really helped out a lot. Without that, I don't think they're going to have enough talent to compete, especially with the Alabamas and Georgia. But I'll take it a step further. If Florida comes up, Tennessee comes up like they've been in the past 25 years, I don't think they can compete with them either. I think that because of that state's intake in-state balance base, and I know they go into Texas. I think they have to have a quarterback who could do something special. Jackson Arnold wasn't that guy, and I doubt they have that guy on their roster.
And I doubt he'd be able to do something special like Cam Newton was, because here's the difference, and this is what I'm getting at. Gene Chizik, whatever else you think about him, and I don't think highly of Gene Chizik. I don't think he's that bright. But I'll say this. When he got Cam Newton, he stepped back and was a mascot and let Gus Malzahn coach Cam Newton and run that offense and go win a national title, right?
Yep. And that's what I mean. I mean, you have to be smart enough to do that.
Yes. Do you think Brent Venables would step back and be a mascot, or do you think he's like Jeremy Pruitt, where he wants to like make this a defensive identity team no matter what, and he needs the offensive coordinator to mold to that? And
no. I mean, I think you're maybe misremembering that Auburn team just a little bit. I mean, that Auburn team was defensive minded in their decision making. They relied on Cam Newton to turn in 3 or 4 plays that were just crazy.
Right, but do you think Brent Venables would take his hands off the program to let a Cam Newton do what Cam Newton does?
I guess I'd give him the benefit of the doubt, but you may be right.
Because that was, and you talked about this before. I mean, we know Jeremy Pruitt did. And one of the things we talk about the cheating with Jeremy Pruitt, the biggest thing is he didn't take his hands off the offense at all, ever, when he was at Tennessee. And that's why he was so insistent on Jared Garantano starting every game. And the offense just wasn't working with Jim Chaney. And so we know that. We also know, as you pointed out, Philip Fulmer wanted to be a CEO at Tennessee, but he also wanted to have his hands all over the offense. So he went for Dave Clawson, and the dynamics didn't work at all with that, when he could have hired Gus Malzahn and just turned over the whole offense to him.
Okay, bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank. Tennessee will be a defensive-minded team in 2025.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
All right. I don't think that Auburn's anywhere close to being a perennial championship contender.
You mean Oklahoma?
Oh, Oklahoma. Sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I think you accidentally said Tennessee at the start. I think you meant Oklahoma, too, for defensive-minded team. I agree. Oklahoma is not anywhere close to being a perennial contender. And I'll go even a step further. I'm going to play bank on it here. Oklahoma's not going to be a tough game for Tennessee this year. I think Tennessee's going to dog walk them in Neyland, honestly. And so, I mean, the only way it's a tough game is if Tennessee by November has struggled so severely through the first part of the season where the players just quit on the season. And I don't really see that happening. So I think that I think Tennessee absolutely obliterates Oklahoma. I think Brent Venables is fired before the end of the year.
I won't say before the end of the year, but I'll say before January 1. How about that?
Oh, I could go there. Who gets fired first, Brent Venables or Billy Napier?
And I get the feeling that Florida didn't have their NIL in line from people I've talked to. And not only does that hurt at NIL, but that also isn't good when it comes to just overall budgetary issues. And there might be a financial decision. Let me just tell you, the worst thing you can ever do is make a financial decision on football. The worst thing you can ever do is say, keep Derek Dooley for another year because his buyout's $40 million, or keep Bozo Joe another year because his buyout's $40 million. I think that's where Billy Napier and the Gators are backed into. I think that's the wall they're backed into, Caleb. So I think he keeps his job with like an 8-win season, but you could definitely argue that he should be fired before anybody at Oklahoma. Bottom line is Oklahoma's got the money, and if they want to make a change, they can, and they won't even blink twice about it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Oklahoma's got the money. Brent Venables hasn't been coaching as long, I think. Well, Brent Venables, I think, came cheaper than Billy Napier did. And I don't know the exact salaries, but I do believe Brent Venables was cheaper. You guys can correct me on that if I was wrong. I may be wrong on that. But I think Oklahoma won't have the same trouble firing Brent Venables in general. And I think it's going to be more obvious, too. I think Florida is doing something that they've never, ever done before, which is Florida with Billy Napier I can tell you what they believe they have in Billy Napier, Dave, and you probably think they're wrong on this, and I probably agree with you. They don't believe they bought a crypto stock like Bitcoin. So many people buy Bitcoin and it shoots up and shoots down, and it's wild and how it goes off and goes crazy. They believe they bought a very reliable stock with a reliable 3% return, and it's just going to keep getting a return of 3%. So while everybody else is doing the crypto stocks and trying to buy and sell and losing a ton of money or getting a ton of money, Florida is just staying steady, growing their value. That's what they believe they're doing with Billy Napier. Now, I think you and I both believe, no, they bought a stock that they didn't buy stock that's going up. They bought stock that's going down. They bought GameStop. And so more than anything. But they believe they bought stock that's just slowly but surely over time increasing its value and returns.
We'll see. That's not the sense that I get from Billy Napier and crew.